This is the iPhone SE, but it technically isn't the iPhone SE because this is the iPhone 16e, and it essentially completes the iPhone 16 family of phones, and it essentially has the body of the iPhone 14, and this as well, this is meant to be a budget iPhone, but it really isn't a budget iPhone because it's up there in price. Let's take this off. Satisfying. This feels actually surprisingly really sleek and premium in the hand with the matte black finish on the back here. It's USB-C for charging. There is no camera control button on here. There is also no mute toggle here as well. That has been replaced by the action button. But this can be a substitute for the camera control button. And of course, no dynamic island because the notch is back. And it's been a while since I've had a notch on an iPhone. I'm used to that pill, the dynamic island pill, so it's weird having the notch there. In the box as well, it comes your typical stuff with a USB-C cable and a bunch of instructions as well. That's it. We get no power brick in the boxes anymore and no Apple stickers. But this screen though, with that OLED 6.1 Super Retina XDR screen and this wallpaper, I absolutely love this wallpaper here. Unfortunately, with these just two colors, black and white for these iPhones, there is no product red in Apple's lineup at all anymore. So what happened to that, I don't know. And with this iPhone as well, this completely kills off any remaining iPhone in Apple's lineup on sale when it comes to the home button being there. It completely kills off any form of lightning cable as well. It's all USB-C going forward now. This isn't your pro level iPhone, but it does have the updated specs there of an iPhone 16. There is pros and cons to this iPhone. It's not a budget device in comparison to the iPhone SE, that's for sure. This is more like the iPhone 16 Lite. It's all just very confusing. Let's get out of here. This iPhone has the latest chipset from Apple when it comes to iPhones. The A18 is in this model of iPhone. So although this is technically a budget iPhone, you'll still be having the latest specs, the latest chipset in the more recent standard iPhone 16 models. But it is slightly different when it comes to the A18 chip because in this phone, it only has a 4-core GPU. And in the standard iPhone 16, it is a 5-core GPU. But honestly, you really won't notice unless you are playing some really intensive graphical games with ray tracing enabled. You really won't notice the difference in chipset. So for the average person, the average Joe, it's really not a big deal missing that one less core with the 4-core GPU compared to the 5-core in the other 16 models. This iPhone though does have one breakout feature, this C1 modem, which is Apple's own in-house built chip. That's for the first time ever in an iPhone, in an Apple product, and it's not in any of the other 16 models. This is the first for the iPhone. And going forward as well, you're going to be seeing this C1 chip in other Apple iPhones and devices going forward. The C1 modem allows you to connect your cellular mobile network with 4G and 5G for the fastest, most reliable instant connectivity, with the C1 modem being much more faster and power efficient. This new modem will utilize Apple Silicon to provide a much better battery life as well. 26 hours of video playback, which is incredible for an iPhone like this. One thing I've noticed about this iPhone, using it outside under direct sunlight, it isn't the brightest screen in the world. It is a beautiful screen, sure, with its Super Retina XDR display with its OLED screen, but I have the brightness cranked all the way up here and it is hard to see under direct sunlight, and it is only a 60 Hz display. But the battery life, using that C1 modem really will prolong the battery life of this iPhone, and I can tell instantly I've been using this all day long, installing things, testing it out, and it's only on 69%. This phone offering 26 hours of video playback and 6 more additional hours than your standard 16 model iPhones. If you're in the market for an iPhone without those pro features and you want an incredible battery life, a long lasting battery life, this is the iPhone to get for sure if you just want an iPhone with a good battery. Although this iPhone looks like it only has one camera on here, it's quite interesting because it's technically 2 cameras. It is a 2-in-1. There is a 48 megapixel fusion camera on this iPhone. Let's switch to this iPhone and see what it's all about. And this is the iPhone 16e's 48 2-in-1 megapixel camera that also acts as a 2x telephoto lens. And then you can digitally zoom to 10 times. And being this the somewhat budget iPhone with 1 camera lens, there is no cinematic mode and no ultra wide camera, which I rely on every single day with my iPhone Pro Max. And this iPhone as well, although the camera quality is great, it does the job. Sure, it is a very good and capable camera there. When it comes to the stabilization, I found it isn't as good as the Pro level 16 iPhones, and there is a smaller sensor in this camera as well. And it also shoots in 4K 30 frames per second like this right here, and all the way up to 60 frames per second with Dolby Vision and spatial audio. And this is what it sounds like with the audio native on the iPhone 16e. With the front-facing camera of this iPhone, 12 megapixels, and the native audio just coming from this iPhone with no DJI microphone plugged in via USB-C. Now, one thing about this iPhone is that with there being no camera control button like on the other 16 models, there is the action button here that you can program to be a somewhat camera control button to quickly bring up the camera in a moment's notice. But another great feature for this is with Apple Intelligence, you can just tap this action button and program it to bring up the camera, or Visual Intelligence, or Shazam, or music, or torch, or whatever you want to program it for, and just you put that to the camera, take a shot there, and it'll bring up all of that relevant information that you need to know. And it effectively, it can somewhat be a camera control button with this iPhone. Now, MagSafe. This hurts me to talk about because MagSafe isn't on this iPhone, and that's been a staple of the iPhone since the iPhone 12. I have so many MagSafe accessories, from numerous wallets, the MagSafe puck to charge my iPhone, so we need to do it via USB-C when it comes to charging. But there is Qi wireless charging, but it is the first generation of Qi wireless charging. It is very slow with only 7.5 watts, which isn't great when it comes to wireless charging. Another feature missing is that there is no always-on display. Other features missing in action on this iPhone is it doesn't have Wi-Fi 6E or Wi-Fi 7. So the 5G and 4G and connectivity in this iPhone will be slower than the other iPhone 16 models. And it doesn't have ultra-wideband for precision tracking, which is weird not to have this in this one at all. So we can't track our AirPods or Apple Wallets or AirTags in this iPhone at all, which is a weird one. And in terms of MagSafe, we touched on this earlier, but there is cases out there right now that you can buy for this iPhone with magnets built in to the cases to be able to utilize MagSafe with those cases. It's just a shame that a feature like that isn't on the iPhone that's been around since the iPhone 12.
One time like, two time like, me pop mine.
Apple has redesigned the structure of this iPhone to allow for a bigger battery. And this also has a ceramic shield and it is water and dust resistant. But what it comes down to with this iPhone, it is a weird one because who is this iPhone for? It is about 60% more expensive than the iPhone SE is. So it isn't a budget iPhone, but it is a budget iPhone in terms as the standard 16 and the 16 Pro Max. This is still quite a bit more than the iPhone SE, and it's lacking a lot of features that the 16 models have, but the battery life in this iPhone is groundbreaking, is revolutionary, is innovative when it comes to that C1 modem. But is it worth it for all the features that's lacking just for the much better battery life when you can spend 200 more and get an iPhone with so much more with the camera features, with so much more than just a phone in general? But as it stands right now, this has one of the best batteries on an iPhone ever made because of that C1 modem. It is a weird one. What is this iPhone? Who is this iPhone for? It is an iPhone with Apple Intelligence ready across all of Apple's lineup now. So my question really is this iPhone for you?